Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's OSINT Curious Live webcast. I'm Stephen Harris. I also go by the name Nix Intel. I'm standing in for our American colleagues today who are all having a great weekend with their families celebrating Independence Day. And with me this evening for the next hour of fun is the very talented Ines Narciso. Hey, Ines.
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here with Stephen, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. Please give us some hellos in your comments, even if you're coming from YouTube or Periscope. We can read all your comments, so just say hi. It's really nice to be here.
Yeah, it is great. And this is what I think makes a live stream so much fun, is the interaction that we have with some of our guests who are here. So if you're here for the first time this evening, or if you've joined us for many webcasts in the past, we always love to hear from you. And we need your help to solve some of the puzzles that we set. And we value your experiences and opinions on some of the issues that we discuss too. And we're going to start off, as we often do, with a little practice round of Geoguessr. And the reason we like to use Geoguessr in OSINT Curious is because it's great for teaching geolocation skills, but it helps us think a little bit about how we solve problems too. And we're getting better slowly, aren't we, Ines, would you say?
Sorry, I had my sound off. Yeah, I think we're getting better, but we still sometimes get caught in getting too confident. So it may work both ways. In OSINT, it's the same. It's that curve of knowledge when you get to a point where you don't know that much, but you think you know a lot. So maybe we're about to get halfway through, and I think we're going to get better and better with time.
Okay, so let's stop. Hey there, Mohit. I'm glad you could join us. Okay, so the daily challenge again. Can everyone see that? Okay, let's have a look.
Yeah, perfectly well.
So play today's challenge. Okay, so let's go over the rules in case you haven't seen us do this before. What Geoguessr is going to do is going to dump us at a random location somewhere in the world, and we're going to have to guess within 3 minutes where that is. And the rules are, you can help us as much as you want in chat, but you can't Google stuff. There's no Googling. We're just going to use our own general knowledge, and we're going to come up with a solution to do this. And we've only got 3 minutes. So let's see. First question.
Sounds easy.
This is a tricky one. Okay, so we're in somewhere that's quite mountainous. No trees. There's a few houses up here. What's your gut reaction? What's your first reaction, Ines?
I would say maybe South America.
Okay.
Or
if we go this way, we should be able to see.
Yeah.
A sign here. Oh, okay, La Paz.
Yeah, that would be my feeling, like Peru. Hi, Eddie. Peru or Argentina, like Patagonia kind of feeling. But that's my first vibe.
So the sign is giving us a big clue, and we've got, I think there's 3 place names on there, but I can't read the bottom one too well. So we've got Chacaltaya, 16 kilometers, and La Paz, which is 22 kilometers away.
La Paz is in Peru, right? I think so.
I can't remember whether La Paz is Peru or Ecuador. Oh, we've got a place, yeah. Municipio El Alto. I'll tell you what, let's look at that. And because we still have, more
friendly, because they kind of showed us. Let me see. They showed us the municipality. So if we find La Paz, we'll probably find the municipality, because it's 100-something kilometers from La Paz.
Okay. Oh, there's La Paz. It is
Bolivia.
Ecuador. It's
Bolivia.
Bolivia.
So okay. Then we're looking for the mountains, probably, not the water, right?
Yeah.
And somewhere, the other place was Shukatara or Shukatla.
Now just zoom out a little.
So look on your right, under La Paz. So going south, yeah. A little bit more to the right. No, to the right. Yeah, there you have a little bit more to the So to east, you will have west. Sorry, you will have Shuka something. It just showed up.
Hang on.
No, it was like in big. It was a big city. It was in black letters, so you have to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, zoom out a little bit more, on the corner there. Yeah, there. You see Kusha. Well, it showed up there, so it should be between those two spots.
So, and it's in quite a hilly. It's in a high altitude location, isn't it? We've got this phone.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, we're gonna have to go. Let's go there. Whew.
Yeah.
Hey, that wasn't too bad.
No.
Okay.
So you see, like the other place was exactly at the same distance, but going down. So you put the flag like north of La Paz, and the other place was south of La Paz, the Chucatán, whatever. So it was between both places, like in an intersection. Cool. Okay. Well done.
That's not bad though. We can get a maximum of 5,000 points. But so we got 4,847. So that's actually not bad. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't reading the comments because there were people here saying it's in Bolivia. It's in Bolivia. And we're like, Peru, Argentina. Sorry about that, everyone. We were like looking at our screens. I will have a better look at the comments section now, I promise.
But that's a good start though, I think.
Yeah.
So okay. Right, ready for the next one?
Ready.
Right, okay.
Europe.
So this looks kind of miserable. This kind of seems familiar. I feel like we've had this place before.
Maybe.
Let's see. First of all, we have a town name, Kahidat Kushtani. I probably haven't pronounced that right.
Yeah, I mean, we need sector, because sector is always good with like alphabet, and that A has like a very weird kind of sign on top of it. That's probably like from some, I don't know, not like Scandinavian / like Estonia, like Lithuania kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is definitely Eastern Europe. It's not Western Europe.
No. But I would say like,
look what we have.
Oh. .ehu, it's Hungary.
Is Hungary, I think. So we have a country. So now, can we get any closer? Let's find Hungary. It's quite a big country. So we're in Hungary at the moment. Kahida. So we need to let's move around. See if we can get any more information. We're looking for signs. What about the geography? There's some kind of hills in the distance, but
no water.
Kind of flat. There's no water.
In like the license plates, sometimes when there's license plates from both countries, it means it's like close to the border.
Oh, yeah, now this car is old. This car.
Yeah.
But you can see it's got the H sticker in the rear windscreen, which is another that confirms Hungary, I guess.
Yeah, but they don't look like. But I think they have European license plates. So
you're right. I think they do.
Yeah, they do.
Here's a more modern car. So those cars look so old that might have even been since before Hungary joined.
I would say definitely it's like not close to a city, so it has like this more like. It's
rural, isn't it?
Rural vibe.
The weather got nicer. Kahida. I just saw it. So
Zalaksani.
Right. So we've got about 20 seconds. So we're going to have to find. Let's look on this map of Hungary and figure out there's anywhere called.
I would put it away from Budapest and a little bit more to this in that area exactly.
Yeah,
because it looks like too non-city to be.
Yeah, I agree.
The cars look quite Soviet.
Let's see how. Okay. No. Okay. So we were the wrong side of Hungary for that one.
Yeah.
But
it's closer to Austria. That surprises me with those cars that looked like so Soviet Union.
Yeah. I mean, when back in the 80s, when I in the 80s I was in Germany, and when Eastern Europe, when Eastern Europe opened up and East Germany joined with West Germany, you've got like all those old cars came along then, but that's like 30 odd years ago. So those are old.
Yeah.
But we didn't do too bad. We did okay.
Not too bad. We got the country right.
Okay, right. Ready for the next one? Okay. Oh man.
They're not
like,
easy.
This feels like it's going to be one of those ones where we just drive through the woods. So it's mountainous. There's a sign, but it doesn't tell us. There's no writing on it. Which way, left or right? What do you reckon?
Oh, I would say left. I always got like a little bit left more than right because I'm left-handed. So.
Oh, that's a good rationale as any. So we have more signs. There's no writing on them. And that's like a dead end sign and a no entry sign. Can't read the text.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
That's
a vehicle.
Volkswagen. Volkswagen.
Yeah. So I wonder if we can go back.
Europe.
Yeah, it's definitely got a European vibe rather than North America or Asia.
Yeah.
Can't see the license plate well enough.
No, but it does look white, which kind of like makes it a stronger idea that it may be European.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a Jeep or a truck? Yeah, truck. Okay, you have a sign on your left.
Okay, let's zoom in. Gasthaus Plattenhof. Now that is German
like German or or German or Austrian.
Gasthaus is a guest house. So where you stay your truck. So it could be Germany.
Yeah.
Could be Austria. Could even be Switzerland.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's any markings.
But Switzerland, what's the color of license plates in Switzerland? I'm not sure actually.
Switzerland is
European.
I don't know what.
Oh, and Annie here is saying snow poles on sides of the road. So yeah, it's a European. Yeah, it's an European license plate, right?
But look, this is adding confusion now. So it's got the letter I on the license plate, which is Italy.
Italy.
So we have.
So it may be like the Alps because it's interesting because Euro Disneyland, but Euro Disney. Addie says it has snow poles on the sides of the road, so maybe like an area of border between Italy and Switzerland, where they have like the mountains.
I wonder if this is some kind of trick. I don't know. I'm overthinking it. We've got an Italian license plate on the vehicle.
Yeah.
We have German language sign. So where
that could be the Alps.
And we've got alpine scenery. So we've got Italy here. We have Austria, Switzerland, where Italian is spoken and German is spoken. Let's go right. Let's hedge our bets and go here. Yeah. I'm really curious to see what this one is. What? Oh man, you are joking.
Yeah, they cut us off because you didn't log in.
I did. I am logged in and I totally paid for my account. Oh no.
Can we?
Right, there we go. I was going to say, I totally paid. Why did it that?
Well, I have a pro account as well. So worst case scenario, we could use mine. Oh, we did so well.
We did. We weren't too. Okay. So the real location was
in Italy.
And it was well in Italy. So actually that sign was in German, but kind of confusing.
Yeah, but that may happen. It's like it's quite close to the border. So if you think about that, it should be about like 50 kilometers from the border, maybe.
Okay.
60. So yeah, okay, but we were right about our hunch, right? That it was like somewhere in the mountains. We didn't.
Bashino has pointed something out to us here, which is that in South Tyrol, which is I think the southern area of Austria, the northern area of Italy, they speak German.
Well,
I was not aware of that. So there we go. But that explains why we can physically be in Italy and see a German language sign.
Okay.
That makes more sense now. Okay. See, every day is a school day, but we did okay. We still got 4,603 out of 5,000.
Imagine if we do the best results on live streams ever, and like we're gonna just make fun of all the US people saying like, it had to be Europeans to come and solve it.
Yeah. Right. So here we go. This looks somewhere hot.
And the poles are quite, like the light poles, they are really long. Like this is not European at all.
No.
I don't know if in like South America or the US they are like this, but they're almost like an L, you know?
There's a river name,
Oh.
Rio Atuel. So
Okay.
Rio, that's Spanish. Is what?
Yeah.
Could that be Portuguese as well? For if this
No,
is...
but Atuel would never be a Portuguese name.
Okay.
So I would say somewhere in South America.
Yeah. In South America, I don't know about you, but is always my weak spot on these because I just don't know it so well. But here we go. Right. So we have a sign.
We have a politician.
Omar
Felix
Felix.
Confiable. Omar Felix.
It would have been nice if there was a web address on there, wouldn't it? So
yeah,
we have hospital, 5 kilometers, but I can't make out
we have some place name overhead by that car.
Better, much better. Okay. I still don't know where that is.
Jaime.
Ooh, let's go back. Let's go back. Hold on there a second.
Jaime Prats? I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no
this
idea.
Almost sounds like South, like Mexico with US border, something like that, or like Argentina, because the landscape is like too dry to be like somewhere in the middle of South America or Central America. Double yellow road line says Adi Americas, and Labella says South America. Yeah.
Yeah, Argentina. Okay. La Bella, if you know why that might be Argentina, then drop us a guess. Oh, we got. Oh, even a look at. Let's look at these signs instead. I don't recognize any of these place names. So we have Real del Padre, Grau Alvea,
Santa Isabel.
Isabel.
Yeah, this is definitely like my only doubt if this is Mexico or if this is Argentina or something.
Okay, well, we have 20 seconds, so we need. This is kind of a Hail Mary. That's fine.
Yeah.
Supermarket La Chica. Oh,
I have no idea.
You are a
yeah, just I don't know. Try Mexico.
Yeah, we have 10 seconds.
Mexico, but close to the U.S. border.
Okay, let's do that. Let's see how far away we are. Oh.
Just like
26 points.
Yeah.
That could be an all-time low.
26 points is like Geoguessr not saying you're losers.
Yeah, like, that was poor. We should have listened. We should have listened to
Labella. Labella says, like, yeah. Was it in Argentina?
Let's go back and see. It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, that shows, doesn't it, like how we had the high level information to say, well, this is Spanish, and so therefore South or Central America, but we didn't pick out anything that we could relate to a specific country. At least we couldn't. La Bella. No. Kudos to you, La Bella, for doing that. Okay, let's try again. Last one. We need to redeem ourselves.
Okay.
And we are somewhere busy. Loads of mopeds.
This would be Asia, I would say.
They're driving on the left.
Yeah.
Which is unusual. Not many countries drive on the left.
In Asia, would it be the Malaysia?
Philippines, Indonesia.
I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe what are the countries of Asia that drive on the left? I should know this. I've played
Malaysia, I think.
They have like the veil, so it's probably a Muslim country. So Malaysia, yeah, is a good guess.
Okay, let's see if we can get a nice clear sign. This is one busy place, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like a market.
Let's find a sign.
Malay or Indonesian.
Language to work with. What's this say?
Let's see. Maybe it's Indonesian. It could be.
That text at the top kind of looks like Arabic, but the writing that is not. I'm kind of thinking Indonesia or Malaysia, but I don't recognize the language. And if anyone who's playing along, yeah, RB Indonesia, got Malaysia or Indonesia. Let's have a look. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
There, do you have like a website there? Like on that building on the left?
Oh, on here, on this.
No. In that big like red kind of ad. Yeah. The website.
Oh, Telecom Indonesia. Good spot.
Yeah. Cool.
So we've got our country. So let's have a look. Indonesia, which unfortunately is a massive country. It's kind of big. So what we need now is to dial in a little bit more and find a place name, if we can. What do these shops say? Bengzel. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Being close to water isn't going to help us either.
No.
Like basically everything. So we need like a road sign or something, like in a crossing.
Yeah, big crossroads with big cities and how far they are. That would be ideal. But we've still got 30 seconds, and we've got the country.
Wait, on the left you had a mosque. It said Majid something. It usually one more. Didn't. No. Sorry. Nope. Yeah, there. Majid in
Jakarta KM15.
Yeah, so it's Jakarta. Cool.
Let's go close to Jakarta, because we've only got 6 seconds. That'll do. Right. How do we do? Hey, that was a good spot, Ines. You found the sign. Okay. So actually, apart from that terrible question.
Yeah, just one that if we'd done that one somewhere in Argentina, we would have done a good. I think we could have done it really well.
Okay. But yeah. That one just let us down. I don't know how. I've not logged into the OSINT Curious main account here, so I can't see how that compares to our previous ones. But we did okay. We did okay.
I think we did. Yeah. I think we should be proud of ourselves. And thank you so much, everyone, for helping us out. And we couldn't have done so well without you. Yeah. Yeah,
and Flibble has made a great point there. Like the area codes and things like that make all the difference. If you can.
Yeah. But because we don't use Google Flibble, we need to know them like by heart or by memory. And that's something that I haven't managed. Like I know some country codes and like .de from Germany, or like most that can help. But like phone country codes for me, I know probably like 10, maybe 15 in you, Stephen, and that's about it. Because after that, I will be like, not sure.
If you can't get a nice big city sign like the capital city or one of the major cities, then a website address is probably one of my favorite things, I think, for finding this stuff. And if you're wondering, by the way, when you see some of the high scores and people who get 5,000 points on every question, if you have a look on our YouTube channel, our OSINT Curious YouTube, you'll see how Micah and I dived into how Geoguessr is put together and found how people take advantage of the way the website is put together to cheat and always get a high score. But we don't do that, and we don't encourage that. But if you're wondering how come some people seem to be so amazing, that is how they do it.
Or they're really lucky.
They're really lucky every single time. Okay.
We had like one case one time where what it was in Phnom Penh, in a place that I had been, and I immediately said, okay, I know where that is. And we had one case in Portugal where I knew perfectly where it was. So then it's easier. Like if it's something on your, like the street where you used to like go, I don't know, to buy something, or that street, you will know immediately where it is, but you need to be a little bit lucky. But one thing that's quite interesting is we didn't have a lot of US places today, but I always wonder if Geoguessr's algorithm, like if you're coming from a US like IP address, if it gives you like less US addresses just to make it more fun, or it doesn't give you like an address from your country. But I haven't tried it, but it would be interesting to I
Yeah,
got strict US state run the other day. Yeah, for a British person. Wow, very well.
yeah, that's quite good because some US states are very distinctive, but some to an outsider look much like another.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't, and this is something people often forget when you're doing geolocation stuff. There is absolutely no substitute for local knowledge or your own traveling experiences, and that's why I think your gut instinct, your first answer, is sometimes really important when you're doing things, because so you look at some mountains, you think, oh, that's the Alps, and you can't explain why it's the Alps, but like you obviously have some memory or some association. So often your gut instinct is right, although not always. You still have to show how you got there.
And also like having a lot of trying to get knowledge on places, and also crowdsourcing and asking for help. Because I was thinking, imagine that we had to geolocate like that picture of the forest just with that sign saying in German, saying like, this is like a guest house. And me and you would go like, okay, this is somewhere like Germany, Austria. And actually it ended up being in Italy. And it's really interesting that like someone said, okay, but in that place you speak German. So sometimes when you're not sure, like it's also good to doubt and question and ask others, because people will tell you, no, actually there's a place in Italy where they also speak German.
Yeah, and I did know that, and see, we've learned something once again. So one of the things we wanted to talk about this evening, in sort of our discussion about the world of OSINT, and we're really interested to get your different perspectives on this, is issues around privacy and security, and how different countries, different cultures affect the way that you do OSINT there. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about what we were discussing earlier, Ines, about how different cultures and different countries affect privacy and security? Where is it easier to do OSINT and where is it not, and how do we deal with that?
Yeah, I think one of the things that amazes me always is how across different cultures people will have a different view on what they should share and what they shouldn't share. And so everyone that's listening, feel free to tell us how it is in your own countries. But for example, in Portugal, I would say that people share very easily, and there's not a lot of security culture. And that has a lot to do with the fact that, that we didn't have any like big wars, and there isn't like a tradition of being so scared or something. So I think people will very easily overshare. On the other hand, because we had a dictatorship, there's the other side of the coin, which is everything that has to do with like government databases. People are like, okay, I don't mind sharing my entire life to Facebook, but to something involving like governmental issues, they are like more suspicious, and because there's this trauma that's completely understandable, people will think twice. So probably like in terms of like gov kind of OSINT resources, we don't have that much. On the other hand, like in terms of social media, people are very open. And another thing that I think is interesting is Portuguese people will have like a lot of friends. So for us, like a person that you've met yesterday and you had a chat and you met them, and then you will become friends on Instagram or Facebook. And for example, I'm half Dutch, and a Dutch person will not do this because it's like, okay, I met this person yesterday, they're not my friends. And this is also something that changes dynamics on social networks when you're doing OSINT. I think Facebook doesn't release a lot of data, or Instagram, but it would be interesting to see like the average amount of friends that people have between countries. And for example, on LinkedIn, like Portuguese people will accept almost everyone. It's really funny and there's other cultures where people are more like, okay, if I don't know you, why should I accept you as a connection? So I think these differences are quite interesting. How do you think it is back at yours?
It's different, and every single culture, and Paul Fennell in chat has just mentioned there's a generational thing too. So doing OSINT in the UK, I would say there are countries where it is easier when you're doing people OSINT. But taking the UK as an example, doing OSINT on people, individuals, can be quite difficult because they're out, if they're not on social media and they don't have a big social media presence, it's hard to work with them. But business OSINT, for example, in the UK is much easier than some places because there are so many public registries, there are Companies House, and there are like county court judgments and things like that. So that can be easier. I think what I find really difficult is when you're doing OSINT on, well, two groups of people, either much older people who never got into the internet, and people who maybe in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and the internet's bypassed them, or also find people who are much younger, say maybe under 20, under 25, and teenagers who use social media all the time, but they are not as open with stuff. Like they're not on Facebook, they're not on Twitter. Do you find there's a generational gap between people? And how do you deal with it? I'm curious.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. I think I would say that younger people are actually more aware, even though they actually may share sometimes more, but they know platforms, they know how they work, they know how to create like groups and lists of friends on Instagram or like they know that TikTok is something that's open. So if I do this on TikTok, everyone may see it. If I do this on Instagram and I share it between like my close friends list, I know that only these people will see it. But if I tag someone else, this other person may share it and then it may be seen by other people. And they're like more aware of these small things, where I think older people they really want to get involved sometimes on the internet, but they don't have this digital literacy. So they will tell me very often, oh, but my Facebook is completely closed. And I will go like, are you sure? Let's have a look. And they're like, oh, but I didn't put that public. And I was like, yeah, but you did tag this friend who decided to share it. And then because they have a public profile, and they will be very surprised on how the platforms work. So I think there is a generational difference. And also younger people will have very often usernames. So they will not use that easily, like their name and their picture, like their face. They will have like anime or something else. And they will usually also not have their family members, which is for us like also a challenge, because usually if you're doing like with individual issues, you want to create that network, understand how they're moving. So I think there's a lot of challenges. Adi here says that in Russia it's relatively easily. Yeah, from his time, Russian military leaves so much info scattered around. Well, I think that's one of the things that has been growing is this, like 10 years ago, I don't know, I started doing OSINT in 2008, but when I started in the first like 5-6 years, people would not be aware of it, I think. And you could find a lot of people sharing very like openly. I think one of the good things that we as a community have made possible is that people are more aware, and they're more aware of how it works. And yeah, some big investigations and researches that have gone public, like for example, picking up on Adi's example, like the MH17 investigation, they showed like military personnel, for example, that they shouldn't just, take pictures by the tank to put on their social media profile. So because that can be geolocated and et cetera. So yeah, I think there's a growing awareness on privacy issues and social media, but on the other hand, like we're giving more and more data. So we have both sides, right?
Yeah, I think probably for the app companies and people who make these online services, they are still able to hoover up the data that they want for their business model. But for us on the outside who are trying to use that for OSINT, it feels like it's getting harder and harder to reach that. But we just adapt, and that's how it goes. And Paul says, yeah, German nationals are the hardest to find. I think certainly in Europe, that's right, because Germany has a very, very strong privacy culture and very, very strong privacy legislation. But actually, I find the hardest, and this is a cultural thing as much as anything else, the hardest countries to deal with, to do OSINT in, are ones where you don't speak the language at all, because you can't pick up on things. In fact, I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I was working on a people trafficking case involving some people from Vietnam, and they had basically been brought against their will into the UK and then dumped, and we were trying to find them. And so all their social media, they all had Facebook, but it was all in Vietnamese, which is hard to work with. And one thing I did not realize is that in Vietnam, there is quite a small pool of names. Like, I'm called Stephen Harris, you're Ines Narciso, and we'll in Western Europe have different names. In Vietnam, there is a very, very small pool of family names, and you could get hundreds and hundreds of matches. So just finding someone from a name, for example, took so much longer, and that's something you don't even think about. So yeah, I'd say language challenges are the hardest, I think.
Yeah, you were saying something really interesting, because sometimes I get like tweets and DMs from our audience saying, "Hi Ines, I really want to get more into OSINT. How can I help?" And like, I always try to give them some resources, but this is a really interesting starting point. So if you look at the OSINT community, there's quite a lot on, for example, like how do you search a phone, or how do you search like an email? But actually regional and specific country tips are not that often. Now, when we're doing Geoguessr, usually Micah will go like to GeoTips, and we will have a look at GeoTips, and it's amazing. And think about how much you could, like, if you want to create like a blog, or if you want to start writing on OSINT, how much you could give to the community if you started writing something like on your own country about, like, for anyone like me or Stephen that would be doing a search on Vietnam, if you're Vietnamese, what are the musts that we have to know? Like in some countries, for example, it's a small detail, but like in Portugal, people will have usually two pronouns and then two last names. And one of them is the mother's side and the other one is the father's side. Now, if you're looking at it in a OSINT investigation, this may be interesting because it makes it easier to identify like the person's family. And companies, for example, may be built with different structures. So this is also interesting if you're doing a company research, for example, in Portugal. And we have like all these different resources that are regional and very often are quite useful. So yeah, so to everyone who's listening, if you live in a country and you love OSINT, start trying to organize these ideas, because it's really something that you can bring back to the community. And I find it really useful. And I usually will go to like friends from that place, try to find someone saying, how does it work with like phone numbers? Like, how are they built? Like, and can you tell me more about how people, like if two people open a company together, does that mean that, like, for example, in Portugal, it's very often that family members will have like a company together. If they have the same last name, probably their family. But how does it work in your country? Like, would this be impossible? Is there like no culture of families having a business? So this is like small tips that could be really, really useful, right?
Yeah, and I think a mistake we sometimes make is we assume everyone knows what we already know, and that's almost never the case. So yeah, that's actually a great idea for wherever you're from in the world. Write us something, tweet us something. What are the top 5 OSINT things we should know if we are looking into your country? Because they might be obvious and everyday to you, but for anyone who's not from the same part of the world as you, it will come in really, really handy to know that and save a lot of time. Okay, I thought we discussed before, Ines, about maybe working through some CTF puzzles. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so we often get asked about where people can learn OSINT, and that is partly why the OSINT Curious project exists. But there are also loads and loads of great places out there to practice your OSINT resources. Practice your OSINT skills even. One of the most common is Trace Labs, which runs sort of missing persons OSINT challenges every couple of months or so. But we're going to introduce one for the last little bit of time that we have left, which is, and I'm going to drop the link into chat. This was made by some computer science students from the University of Wales a couple of years ago, and it's a cyber CTF. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can all see it. Let's have a look. Here we go. So this is called the Cyber Detective CTF, and unlike a lot of CTFs, there are no time limits. You can just register and play along at your own speed, and it tests. I really, really like this because it tests a really wide range of skills, and you can't just Google the answer quickly. It tests your problem-solving ability as much as anything else. So it's in 3 sections. One is life online, which looks a lot at, social media. There's evidence investigation, which tests your ability to sniff things out and work through problems, and some which are general knowledge. And some of them are very, very easy, some are very, very hard, but there's no quick answers. So I've dumped the link in chat. This is ctf.cybersoc.wales. And if you have a spare 5 minutes, or you have an evening and you want to brush up on your OSINT skills, this is a really good place to head to and practice. And most of the questions you can answer as many times as you want until you get the right answer. So I thought we could work through one. Ines, does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I've never done any of these, so
okay. I have done some of these when it first came out a couple of years ago. The life online section I'm going to skip for next. These are predominantly social media questions, and I haven't prepped a sock puppet for working through these, and so we'll come back to those maybe another time. But we've got some evidence investigation ones. So should we pick one at random?
Yeah.
Let's go for one with a low score first to get all right. So this question is called DVLA. For those of you not from the UK, the DVLA is the Driver Vehicle and Licensing Association, or Authority, sorry. So they're in charge of car registrations. So here's the question that we're going to try and solve. It says, we've managed to snag a picture of the front of a new person of interest's car. We need you to find out the make of the car and the month it was made in. And we've attached a photo from a local CCTV camera. Take a look. And the answer will be the brand name, then space, then a month. So let's look at the picture. I'm going to have to adjust the way I share my screen, actually, for you to be able to see this. Just hang on. Okay. Let's try. Okay, so can you see that photo okay?
Yeah, perfectly well.
Okay, so we have this photo and we have the reg of a car. So it's CY10HHB. So I recognize this as being from my own country. So that makes it a little bit easier.
It's not European.
Yeah, it's not European, and the reason we know that is it doesn't have the European flag, which most European license plates do these days. So it's from the UK, and there are, if you didn't know that already, which it happens that this particular question is in the UK, there are some great websites like worldlicenseplates.com or License Plates Mania, where you can search through country by country and find a suitable match for the license plate. So that's in the UK. So next steps, we need to find out the make and model of this. So we need to find the make of the car. So which company, like Volkswagen or Ford or Jaguar or whoever. So we need the make of the car, and we need to know the month that it was manufactured in. So how are we going to do that? Any thoughts on how we might tackle this problem? Paul saying it's a Ford. Okay, so yeah, we could do a license plates check on the country.
there's some countries where you can, as Adi was saying, check if the person has an insurance active, and then it will usually give you like some details about the car, even though it doesn't give you like the owner, but it will give you like the model and the year of the car.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. We search for the UK, and all these suggestions, by the way, are Google's top hits. They're not from my search history. Check car registration. Okay, get vehicle information from the DVLA. So we've Googled our resource that we use. Okay, and we actually have a second link here, vehicleinquiry.service.gov. I'm going to try and remember which one of these. So we go back. We have our registration number, which is CY10 HHB. And then we have, so is this the vehicle we are looking for? So it's matched, we've entered the registration. It's told us that it's a Ford in silver. It doesn't tell us the exact model, but we just need to know the manufacturer, which is Ford. I think Paul Fennell's already said it's a Ford in chat. I guess that's just through recognizing it. So that is the vehicle we're looking for, we hope. Say yes. And then we get a load of information. So it tells us, we don't know who owns this vehicle. We don't know which address it's registered to or anything like that. But we know when it was taxed. We have the MOT, which is like an assessment of its roadworthiness. We know when that runs out. And we get all sorts of other information here about the car. So we get the manufacturer and the date of registration, which is June 2010, the engine size, how much carbon dioxide it emits, and so on. That's really, really useful. And there's never any personal information with this, but for a vehicle, that's all we need to know. So,
and it also means that if it's like a person of interest, if you see like an image of another person like next to a car where you can't see the license plate, but you will see like the model, then you're like, okay, probably it's that car. So sometimes it may look like it's not useful, the information, because you won't get a name, but it may help you to have an idea of the full picture, for example, if you just have a license plate to start with, for example.
Okay, so we were 1 month, so Ford in June, so we want Ford and space June. Hope this isn't case sensitive. Woohoo! We did it. That was right. So that one, that was only 250 points. That's one of the easy ones. Are we ready for another one?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do the next one along. This question is called connection refused. Okay. We're trying to access this web address, which is http://timetraveler.icc.tf. The server is not responding. It is essential that we find the information contained on this site, as we suspect it to be part of a criminal enterprise. Sources suggest that the site was accessible about 4 years ago. Not sure how that is relevant, but it might mean something to you. Please enter the line of text in the box below. And when we find it. Okay, so we've got a website, and this is a common real life problem.
Challenge. This is one of those things that also people, obviously we're going to go to the archive, but in the Wayback Machine, but it's really important that people realize that like in every place of the world, there's like local archives of websites. So when you don't find like a website on Archive Today or Wayback Machine or any of those mainstream tools that you will find in most OSINT toolkits, always remember to go search for that country if they have like somehow a local database. So for example, for Portugal, there's a lot of things that will not appear on the Wayback Machine or other like global archives and internet repositories, but it will show up, for example, on in this arquivo.pt, which is like a Portuguese place. And there's a lot of governments all over the world that will have these as well. Governments or like NGOs or others that will keep like a database of websites from that place, for example. So always remember to have a look at that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, if you've done any kind of OSINT of any kind, this is a real life problem. That stuff doesn't last. It gets deleted from the internet. I used to find when I did digital forensic work, for example, you would look at a suspect's computer and you'd see websites they visited and you wanted to go and look and see what was there, and it just wasn't there anymore because so much time had passed. But as Ines has mentioned, we have the Internet Archive, which is at archive.org. There is also archive.is, and there are many other sites that cover archives. And Ritu Gill, another OSINT Curious member, has written a really good series of tutorials on that. So to look up what a website looked like in the past, it's not there today, but we can copy the URL. We can just right-click and copy and paste that into the Wayback Machine. Search the history of 589 billion web pages. Wow. Okay. So it said about 4 years ago, but I think this CTF was created in early 2020, so it's now about 5 years ago. But what we can see here in the history of the website is that it was archived 6 times between June the 1st, 2016 and September 22nd, 2016. And if we scroll down here, all the dates where it was captured are highlighted here. Now, I just noticed the September the 22nd is like blue. That's a really, really big highlight. So I wonder if that's where people...
I think it has to do with the number of times and the number of pages of that. Okay. I usually always go to the biggest one. But
yeah, let's do that then. So it's telling us that this page has been saved 3 times on that date. That's probably a little hint. Okay, so all we get here is redacted. Any suggestions? Let's just compare them. I think we're going to have to dig into this website a little bit more. Redacted again.
Yeah, you probably have to go like to the first one, that one.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's our little time. I thought we were going to have to dig into like the web page source code then, but they haven't been that cruel. So ICTF, and if you can read that here, it says they'll never find my flag in the past. So I'm thinking that is probably our flag. So by going back to what, 4 or 5 years and the Internet Archive site that's no longer there, we've recovered a little bit of information.
But what Stephen was saying that's really interesting is that the Internet Archive doesn't only save the web page, but it will also save the source code. Yeah. And like sometimes web designers will be a little bit, they will have like something in the source code. And for example, they have it on the website and they don't want it to be visible anymore. But in case it gets back or so, instead of deleting it from the source code, they will just like write it off the website visible part, and it will still be in their source code. And of course, you can find a lot of other information, like useful information in the source code. I remember.
I was worrying a bit. I was like pasting the flag and like, why isn't it right? Why isn't it right? I just hadn't copied the first part that said ICTF.
So it's worked. I remember one time, for example, we had a newspaper article that wasn't available. Well, it was like a disinformation article, but it looked like a newspaper article and it wasn't available anymore. But we had this comment of someone like that had linked to the newspaper website using Facebook. And then from the source code, we went to get their ID on Facebook. So this was like really useful. And it's really interesting to remember when you're looking at an old website, also to ask the archive to show you the source code.
Okay, right, okay. Yeah, there is an Flivel's mentioned for Chrome, and I think for Firefox as well. There is an Internet Archive Wayback Machine plugin. And it's really good because when you install it in your browser, and when you come to a web page and the web page isn't loading, it will say, this page isn't here, but do you want to go back to the last archived version of it? So if a site has been archived, it's a lot easier than going through the process we just went through of copy, paste, search, it will do that automatically for you in your browser. It's really, really helpful. Okay, do we have time? We can start. We'll find one that might be a little bit shorter.
Okay, you're not sharing your screen.
Okay, yeah. Let's put my screen back on so we can see everything.
Yeah, Vishinu here is saying also that the add-on is very useful. Just do remember that when you install an add-on, that it will probably have access to your browsing data. So like be sure if you're working on something more sensitive, or if you're not using like a VM or something, that they will have access to that. So it's fine. For example, I use it a lot in my disinformation research because nowadays I'm an academic researcher, and it's not, but when I used to work in law enforcement, I would be like more cautious about the use of add-ons.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm always quite careful with add-ons. I like to go for ones that publish a source code so you can at least see what's happening. But this is our last question, and it's kind of a geolocation-y themed one. It says, we've intercepted a live camera feed overlooking a public space. The camera owner has not bothered to put a password on it, and it's open to the world. An extremely dangerous criminal on the run was recently spotted by our surveillance team using this camera. It is essential to our investigation that we find out the country where this camera is operating from, so we know which law enforcement agency to follow up with. Please find this out for us. So we've got a live camera feed, and we've got an IP address. So let's open that up and see where it points to. So we've got this webcam, which I cannot control. I don't think I can. There are some controls on the screen, but I don't think. No, I am not. Oh no, I can control it.
Yeah, you can.
There's just a really big delay between when I click.
I think that's Amsterdam, and okay. I think it's the Amstelplein, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. But it looks kind of like either Amsterdam or Germany, kind of a place.
I would say it's definitely Europe, for sure. Let's see.
Yeah, I was trying to see if it had like bicycle paths.
My gut reaction is it looks like the Netherlands or possibly Belgium. You have these really sort of pretty narrow houses.
With these dark bricks.
We have this building here, which is
like a church or something.
Yeah, like we have the spire and these 4 like little turrets in the corner. It looks.
And you have really like a fountain down there as well.
And anyone watching this, by the way, feel free to suggest which country. So actually, we don't have to get the town, do we? We just have to get the country.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard trying to control this because there's like a 5-second delay between when I click and when. Let's see if we can go up. Can we see in the distance? See, it's quite hilly there, isn't it? That's quite a big hill.
Yeah, that's not very Dutchy.
That's not very Dutch. Let's go Belgium and see.
I think probably, could be Belgium.
Right, let's go back to another thing we could do actually is
try to see the IP,
the actual IP address, and see which country that's registered to. But let's see if we were right with Belgium. It's not going to let me go back to the CTF now. Oh man.
Maybe that's part of the challenge.
It's part of the challenge, just getting it all to work. Okay, so the country, let's go for Belgium, if I can spell it properly. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try that actually. I'm just going to look at the IP address. We can do that. Although IP address geolocation for specific towns and cities is not very accurate, it is very accurate for countries because IP addresses are generally assigned to a particular country or particular internet service provider in a country. So where does that come back to? So I'm going to a site here called centralops.net, and there are many sites like it, and they will tell you which ISP, internet service provider, a IP address has been assigned to, and this belongs to Telenet BV. Language is Dutch, but their website telenet.be, so that's Belgium. So that's actually two. That was actually quicker than trying to guess which where the camera was in geolocation. So that's two different ways to find out that this was in Belgium, either by the IP address or through looking up, through doing a bit of geolocation with what we could see here on the camera. Okay, and that is the perfect timing for ending our show. Ines, thank you so much for joining me and listening to me witter on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, Paul here was saying screenshot Google Lens. Yeah, or reverse image. Good idea, Paul.
That is also that is a really good idea. Maybe if we do some of the other challenges next time, I think there's probably a few little reverse image challenges in there, but that's a really good resource. Thank you everyone who's joined us and helped us along in the chat. It is so much more fun to do this when we get your contributions and you spot things that we wouldn't see, and we're very grateful that you continue to watch it and support us, and for all the insights that you shared with us this evening. So once again, Ines, thank you for joining us. We can find us at osintcurio.us, or you can find us on Twitter at osintcurious, where we post updates about our content and our live streams. And our next live stream, I think, is Bren, you have timed that question perfectly. Our next live stream is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks to Sunday at 1800 hours UTC.
And it is the beginning of a week of live streams.
Yeah,
so and great.
Following that, yes. So that's right. So the next July the 18th is our next live stream, and following that, we will do one every evening that week. So you have 6 evenings, depending on where. 6 evenings in a row of OSINT Curious content, and we look forward to you joining us. Okay, right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. It was nice. Thank you.